Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. This is the Duval Dive Live. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me here doing the thing like we always are. Instant reaction, of course, to the Vikings doing battle at EverBank Stadium. 12-7, your final score. Listen, I had a close game. I will grant you. There are a lot of things about this football game where I could sound a genius, including picking the Jags to win and including a late turnover by the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. I did not see Mac Jones starting. I can guarantee you that. And while maybe those of the Duval devout that were actually cheering for a Jacksonville Jaguar win, they were hoping to hear return of the man. Oh my God. No, that's not what happened here. Okay, listen. And instead, we have more people who have become Travis hunters. That's right, hunting for Travis. Travis Hunters, you know that kid in Colorado that you're going to need a high pack draft pick to get. That's the guy apparently now in your loss closer to getting a draft pick high enough to be hunting for Travis. I see dude laughing at my dad jokes here already in the virtual green room. This place, let's let him in. He's at EverBank Stadium live on the scene. Listen to me, dad joke. How about we have him talk about the game? My personal champion, Big Cat Countries, Travis D. Holmes. What's up with you?
Oh man, let me out of this green room. I gotta laugh with you, bro. Like it's a day. It's a day, bro. I mean, I don't know if I'm Travis hunting, but I'm reviewing the landscape. How about that? We got the binoculars out. We're looking for sure. We have officially entered draft season.
Doing your best Australian accent. There he is over there, playing both sides of the football. It's Travis Hunter. If only we could get a high enough draft pick to cure him.
I mean, come on, man. I don't know if we're going to land him because we might want to find some bigger prey. But you know what I mean? But like draft picks, perhaps, maybe trade back. That's always my option because, that changes franchises. But, Lord, bro.
We'll save the practical stuff for actual draft season. For now, I'm just following the hype that we hear out there amongst the Duval devout, and they have every reason to be frustrated yet happy somehow in that weird medium of, well, hey, better draft pick. Despite the fact that Mac Jones scores the only touchdown of the football game. Yet this Jacksonville Jaguar team, here's some stats for you. 40 snaps on offense versus 91 by your Minnesota Vikings. But Travis, listen, I know you, the DB in you enjoyed watching this defense do their job, snagging three turnovers, doing what they did. Montaric Browns, I don't know that was actually an interception, but it went down in there. We discussed that a bit, of course, in my The Good, the Bad, and the Spotty on Fans First Network. So, I mean, at least I had to bring a little hype, a little controversy to something. But listen, 111 yards passing ain't going to do it. What is it? 58 of 15 on the ground, on 15 carries on the ground, ain't going to do it. There were a whole lot of ain't going to do it. But what stood out most to you, Travis?
I mean, the biggest ain't going to do it is the fact that they had triple the time of possession. I mean, in every objective category other than third down, the Jaguars lost. Like in every objective way, in every measurable way, this thing should have been a blowout. The only thing that helped them was the fact that they just happened to be playing against Sam Darnold, who just wanted to play. I don't know. He wanted to play Tyrod Taylor. He wanted to play, AR-15. He wanted to do his best cosplay of in all of the worst quarterbacks play that you've seen because they were driving down the field. I mean, we're talking 5 to 7 minute drives, 5 of them. And they just would continue to turn the ball over within the Jaguars, side of the field on the between the 25-yard line and the goal line. Wow. Like Minnesota and multiple people I talked to on the Minnesota media and the Jaguars media all said the same thing. Woo, boy. It wasn't that Minnesota didn't come to play. Sam Darnold did not come to play today because it wasn't like they weren't driving. They were just getting to the red zone. He was just doing wild. That boy was doing wild stuff with the ball. And we in Duval appreciate you, and we would appreciate you more if you were to do that in a game that matters. We don't want you making the game close in a game where we know this game should not be close. And I want to give a shout out to all the Mac heads, all the Mac Jones fan base out there, which apparently exists. I didn't know, but apparently this is the thing. That by the halftime, everybody's going crazy. Everybody's losing it because Mac Jones. Hey man, the Jaguars are winning. Mac Jones scored a touchdown, and I'm just sitting there like, what? You guys would destroy Trevor Lawrence. I'm not even sure what his middle name is. It's probably something like D'Angelo. I don't know. But Trevor, they would kill Trevor Lawrence to end a half with 75 yards, 74 yards passing, and only scoring 7 points. And now we're going to have all this hope because the Jaguars happen to be winning because the Jacksonville Jaguars defense was playing out of their mind in the red zone. No, man, keep that thing a buck. Keep that thing 100. If we're gonna keep it this way with Trevor, we got to keep it this way with Matt because we want to figure out where the true issues with this Doug Peterson Press Taylor offense. And now we can effectively say, I hope we can effectively say, Duval, this is obviously a problem. I think that's fair. Am I off in this, Kyle?
Oh, hey man, listen, let me keep it a thou, as my dude Marcellus Wiley says. Okay, yeah, it went from we're talking Mac to we're talking schmack real damn fast in this football game. Of course, I mentioned earlier that Mac Jones did score the only touchdown in the football game. That don't mean he did good. Did he throw fewer interceptions in the football game than Sam Darnold? Yeah. That don't mean he was that good. Okay. Like there's a lot of here. And man, listen.
There's so much here.
Yeah, 100%. And it's gonna be hard to find a positive, but for me, the low-hanging fruit to declare a positive, Travis D. Holmes, is on your side of the ball. Simply put, I can make a strong argument that this was the defense's best damn game of the year, and no one's gonna remember it.
I mean, the fact that the Jaguars kept Justin Jefferson, who was averaging, I believe it was close to 90 yards a game, or it might be even over 90 yards a game before the game started, receiving, they kept him under 50 yards receiving. Like you barely even noticed them. I mean, you noticed their tight ends, former Jacksonville. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson had one series had literally every third down conversion, all four of them. I believe that was the Montserrat Brown interception series, and he gets all four third down conversions. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars just could not stop him. But also you had Josh Oliver, who at the half, Josh Oliver, former Jacksonville Jaguar, Josh Oliver, former Baltimore Raven, who also had a 2 touchdown revenge game against the Jaguars, Josh Oliver, who also was a leading receiver at the half because Jaguars, man. It was not. But the fact of the matter is, the Jacksonville Jaguars, when it got down to the red zone, they actually did show that mantra of nothing cheap, nothing deep, and I will give them credit on that. They gave up a lot of yards in between the 20 to the other 20, but in the red zone, they did a damn good job, and I will make sure to say that because no one's going to remember this because of the fact that they got a loss, because the offense could not score any points off of takeaways. When you have 3 takeaways, at one point you're winning the game, 3 takeaways to 0 and you have 0 points off of takeaways because your offense simply can't not do anything other than get 3 and outs, and again the 3 and outs was your best case scenario because the or was we will get the second down and you will fumble a snap, or you will get the second down and throw 2 interceptions both on second down. That's the worst case scenario. So like, bruh, yeah, that hope is immediately dashed. Like we got folks talking about starting CJ Beathard off of Miami's practice squad. I mean, with 1 week back on the squad, that is where we are, Jacksonville. It's sad times, bro. I mean, it's good times, but it's sad times in different ways.
I find it interesting that CJ Beathard, you and I observed in camp, Mac Jones thoroughly performed better throughout camp. Okay, now fans are calling for him. How soon we forget, right? How soon we forget how BTJ was a bust during camp in those first couple days, and then I mean, fans, you gotta love him, okay? Come on, guys, y'all.
BTJ, man, the boy don't get us. He gets one target at the half, and even that target wasn't really a target because it was a run play, and I guess there was a misread, but Mac Jones with the run pass option, so he ended up throwing it like 5 yards over BTJ's head, was like just basically throwing it away, and they gave that a target. So in reality, Brian Thomas Jr. ended this game with 2 real targets in the game and 12 yards on, basically catching both of his catchable balls. If you're struggling to score and to do anything other than get 3 yards and out, your number one receiver probably should have more than 2 targets. I don't think I'm being outrageous in saying that, Mr. Peterson, Mr. Taylor. That's just my professional opinion as a non-offensive guy. I thought your number one receiver should, get targets like a number one receiver. Mm.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Listen,
So as it currently stands, it sounds like Evan Ingram must be the Jacksonville Jaguars' number one receiver because both with Trevor Lawrence is starting and with Mac Jones is starting, it just feels like that must. Maybe that's where the scheme is funneling everything to. Is this just there? Is it just Evan Ingram's offense? Maybe that's it. I don't know. But the team got to go.
You've heard me refer to BTJ as the lottery ticket, right? People, his expectation is to be nothing cheap, everything deep. It's kind of the backwards to the mantra, right? No, I mean, he's a lottery ticket because they look for him to get those big balls, but we've also seen him do stuff beneath that. Perhaps maybe throw a little bit of, that action in there to throw people off because people are going to sit back and wait for BTJ, and to not be able to grasp that in simple fashion is simply put a failure of offensive football. And this is why the shouts for the firing of either Doug Peterson or Press Taylor make perfect sense.
Right. I mean, that's what we're talking about. At the end of all of it, it is a scheme that is not highlighting your best players. If you have the Minnesota Vikings offensive scheme and you go through a full season where they're not highlighting Justin Jefferson, then whoever the hell is calling the plays got to get the hell out. Like, that's not being outrageous in saying that. Anyone with eyes can see that. Anyone who doesn't know football can see that. And I pray that God, Shad Khan, understands and sees that. And if he doesn't, he has people in his corner that see that because it's at that point it feels obvious. So whether Trevor Lawrence is quarterbacking or Mac Jones is quarterbacking or CJ Beathard is quarterbacking, if you're not highlighting your best guys, then your scheme is off. Your scheme is not doing justice to your players. Your scheme is actually hampering your players, all because you have to control everything within your scheme, and it does not allow that flexibility to do what needs to be done for your best players to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Let me, and well, I'll ask you, Travis. Did it just feel like Mac Jones was afraid more than anything else? Because I got a lot of that on Twitter.
I don't know that he was necessarily afraid because I saw a lot of folks saying, well, they're not letting him pass the ball past 5 yards because his ADOT, average depth of target on his passes, were the bottom 15th percentile of all quarterbacks since 2010 in this game. That's not good. If 100% is like the best you can go to, then the bottom 15th percentile of all NFL quarterbacks since 2010 is not a good option. That's basically saying, yes, he is absolutely checking everything down. Yes, he's not doing it, but is that because the scheme and the play calls aren't allowing him to do that? Or is that because he's not seeing those things? And honestly, I got no idea because that would take me going back to the tape and saying, cool, nobody's here. But what I can say is every time I saw Matt Jones try to do something a little bit deeper down the field, these guys were swamped. Like the Gabe Davis interception, that had no chance. There was another guy open shorter, but he might not have picked up the first down. But there was no chance there. Like, and so on a lot of those deeper balls, I will acknowledge that those plays weren't there. I can't tell you if another guy was maybe, available on the other side of the field or through his progressions. That's something I got to look back on Wednesday. But nevertheless, that doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't. Because we've seen this not work for Trevor Lawrence. And then other guys say, well, Mac Jones, he was fifth in the league in time to throw with the New England Patriots. Maybe he can make this system work for Doug Peterson. Maybe we'll have our own Philadelphia situation going on. And Doug can get his backup quarterback and make this offense work. And that falls flat on his face in the first week we see it. Because he's also not able to move this offense consistently past that one series. Because it's simply not there, because it is not a system that is highlighting what these guys do well. It is a system that basically tells you to hit this guy, and as long as you stay on the system and we play great defense and we run the ball, then we'll be all right. But the problem is the Jacksonville Jaguars can't run the ball, not consistently. They don't generally play defense well, not consistently. So if your overall scheme and everything else is dependent upon all these other things going right, and they don't, then your scheme is not equipped to handle the difficulties or the struggles of this NFL team. They might be great for a great team with a great NFL offensive line, but this ain't that. So you got to advance your scheme or you got to get out the way. And I think we've kind of established where we are on this in this line in the saying. You kind of got to go, but it's not because the guys aren't fighting for you, Doug. Because the guys are fighting for Doug Peterson. We've seen that today. I mean, they're fighting for Ryan Nielsen. They came out and balled out of control. They were doing phantom blitzes. They were actually blitzing just in and of itself. I'm really interested in seeing all the different looks that they were giving Sam Darnold because he was shook in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, Ryan Nielsen. I don't know what this has been all season. We probably could be 500 if you were just doing a lot of that earlier in the year. But good job today. But at the end of all of it, man, it didn't work because of the offense struggles. And Trevor Lawrence only made this thing work because he will get down 10 plus points and then run Harry up offense running his own thing. And then they would score points. Mac Jones didn't have that opportunity to do that today because they never really got down big. And we have seen the consistent results, whether it's a generational quarterback or whether it's your backup quarterback. The results are exactly the same, telling you the one thing that we know to be consistent. The scheme don't work. Y'all got to go. Cool.
Do you think this game was more an indictment of Mac Jones or more kind of a showing of what it is that Trevor Lawrence has been overcoming week after week before this AC joint injury?
Yes. No.
Well done, Travis. Holmes. I love that. But
it is. It's both.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's both. Like at the end of all of it is what Trevor Lawrence has been dealing with, and now you got to see someone else deal with it. Like we were all kind of hoping halfway, at least a little bit, hoping that Matt would come in this game and be super efficient and show Trevor maybe you just aren't reading your keys quickly enough. Maybe you just aren't going through your progressions quickly enough. Maybe you just need to stay on schedule and not take these sacks. Maybe. And then we will feel good about the fact that maybe the scheme does work and Trevor just needs to make some adjustments in the off season or whatever. And that ain't what we learned. All we learned was, oh no, Trev, you was right. My bad. Yeah, you going through the same thing. Yeah, but thank you for your sacrifice and all these hits and injuries and everything you've been taking in this whole time. And also thank you for running Harry of offense in all these, years. We're going back to 2022 to make these games look close and exciting on the backs of just you. And for the most part, you alone. And let's keep it 100. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the quarterback. He's taking all the blame and getting minimal credit because the games are close and he makes a mistake and they're like, yeah, he sucks and don't make no dang. So we saw what Trevor's been going through, and we also saw that Mac Jones is not able to lift up the offense in the way that Trevor Lawrence can lift up the offense, and that's not a knock on him. That's just saying that this guy is going to run your offense however you drop the offense, and he's going to generally run it all right. Well, the offense sucks. The scheme, it sucks. So he's running your offense in what you're drawing up, and it ain't there. Does that mean that Mac sucks? Nah, man. That just means your scheme ain't there. Your scheme ain't knocked you.
It's going to be tough to make. If you were intending to make Mac into a tradable asset, he certainly shot that directly in its keister. That's a fact of the case.
Really can't trade him, though. You can extend him and then trade him in the offseason, but he's on the last year of his contract anyway. So.
No, I understand that. But like down the line, if you were going to keep him in the building, I guess the good news is there's not a whole lot of him banging the table. I want this contract. That's a no for me. Good luck. It's that kind of thing. But we'll see
who they bring in next. But again, I in my Big Cat Country post game write up, I didn't even have an offensive player who was the player of the game. My offensive player of the game was three defensive players: Monteric Brown, Darnell Savage, and who got the third interception? Foye Lucan. That was it. My offensive players of the game are the three defensive players because nobody on offense deserves that. That's
as fun as it is to hear one of your offensive players of the game had 11 tackles, which is awesome. Let me be clear. The correct answer is actually Sam Darnold. So
which I predicted on the Big Cat Country staff roundup before the game. I said the Jacksonville, and it's on my Twitter, Travis B. Holmes on Twitter, on X, whatever. It's basically says something. The gist of the Jacksonville Jaguars' main opportunity or primary way of winning this game, or their biggest prayer of winning this game, is going to be on the shoulders of Sam Darnold. If he shows himself to be who he's been this year, which is someone who averages over one turnover a game, not one turnover a game, over one turnover a game, he averages. If he shows himself to do that, the Jacksonville Jaguars have a chance to winning this game. He showed that. He showed it in spades today. Unfortunately, we saw something we haven't seen, which is the Minnesota Vikings actually shut an offense out. They don't generally do that. We talked about this on Wednesday. Duval died. They would give up a touchdown or an interception. Well, boy, they got a lot of interceptions, but they ain't give up a lot of touchdowns. And Doug, man, that's you. That's your side of the ball. Ryan Nielsen did his thing. You can't throw him under the bus this week. I don't know what you're gonna say. Well, we got to coach him up better on defense because they only gave up 12 points in the NFL football game. What we doing, bro?
No, that's a fine take. We mentioned that on the Duval dive on Wednesday that turnovers were a factor. Some of us in more than one place predicted that the Jaguars would have a turnover late. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of there. But let's get into this. Let's get one of the dramatic points in, by the way.
Okay.
Cam Robinson, how do you feel like he did against his old team? Because I didn't think it was very great. What about you?
Well, I actually thought Cam struggled early, but I thought he settled in late. Like, because Cam got destroyed on the near sack that actually ended up becoming a completion. It was a near Josh Allen sack where Josh Allen just
He put him on the ground.
just got it out the way, just yeeted him like he was Simba and Lion King, just yay, and just out of the way. But then Josh misses the sack and ends up giving up the completion. I believe it was Justin Jefferson, 5 yard first down or something like that. But then after that play, he did reasonably fine. He ended up getting the personal foul late, hit out of bounds penalty on one of the interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously felt like he might have been a little bit in his feelings. But generally speaking, I didn't think he did badly.
He had 3 penalties on the day at least. I don't know if that was the final count or not, but
he had 3. I know he had a dead ball penalty. I don't know if it was like false start or something like that. But then he also had the late hit out of bounds. I didn't know he caught 3. So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm posting the Jaguars on SI's John Shipley with that stat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So then maybe he had a worse game than I thought. I just thought he made a few mistakes, but over the span of a 60-minute game, and where the Jacksonville Jaguars defense didn't really pick up well, actually, I don't think they picked up any sacks. I don't think the Jaguars sacked Sam Darnold once. And if that is true, then we're just talking about pressures and penalties for the most part. And that's kind of why I say I didn't think he had much of a bad game. Because, again, I spent a good portion of the game watching him closely, especially in the first half. And I thought it was just fine.
The Jags did have 1 sack by Trayvon, but that was the extent of it. A whole lot of passes defended. Let's be clear about that part. But, yeah, they did only have 1 sack while the Vikings had 3. So, and yet somehow I felt like the Jags O-line, well, obviously not great at its moment.
Yeah. But I got you. That 1 sack was in the last 4 minutes of the game. And I'm not even sure if that was on Robinson or not. But nevertheless, you get my point. I don't know that it was a bad game by him. It was just a game. But we got I didn't see much from Shaq Griffin, former Jacksonville Jaguar cornerback who plays for Minnesota, who's been having a Pro Bowl year, or at minimum, if it ain't Pro Bowl, it's a damn good one.
Or he's got at least. Let's give him that much credit, eh?
You got tight end Josh Oliver from Minnesota, who was their second. No, at halftime he was their leading receiver. I don't know if he ended the game as a leading receiver, but he would have been up there. And then you have Cam Robinson, who sounds like he might have had an up and down game, but I actually thought he played reasonably fine as far as pressures and sacks are concerned. So in a season where the Jacksonville Jaguars are losing a lot of games, sounds like y'all been losing in the past years also, because you can't even keep. The other players when they leave here are even playing better. So I'm gonna try to keep it more positive than everything else. Shad Khan is here, everybody, and he's been here for the last 48 hours. So maybe, just maybe, there might be some good news resolved, in the next week. Possibly.
My dude is hoping. My dude is hoping.
Possibly even sooner.
On Wednesday, when we air the Duval dive, my dude Travis B. Holmes is hoping beyond hope and praying beyond prayer that he has the opportunity to announce that Trent Baalke is no more here in the Duval County.
I mean, yeah, that would be great. I feel good about that. But worst case scenario, even if that doesn't happen, at least we know if the Jaguars continue with the same offensive staff, one thing we might feel a little bit better about is the fact that we're probably going to have a top 5 draft pick because you know one thing they ain't doing, they ain't changing their scheme. So this scheme is going to be what it's going to be, and which means this offense is going to score what it's going to score, and it's not going to be much unless Trevor Lawrence says, "I ain't doing this. I'm playing my game, and I'm going to fall out of control in that way." Robert Brown saying, "I don't understand the lack of targets to BTJ." Then you obviously don't know football, Robert, because this offensive genius that we have in Taylor and Doug Peterson, they say you don't throw the ball to your best player. No, 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 no. That's genius brain. So you thinking like regular football fans. Geniuses over here in in EverBank Stadium. No, no, no. What we do is we run him on wind sprints, and he opens up everything else for other players who are subpar. That's what you should do.
Listen,
Jack,
I'm going to stop you right here before you start bringing up trickle-down economics and get really ticked off, man. Listen, you know Travis is getting familiar with the sarcasm. It's time to wrap the reaction. They're live from EverBank Stadium. With that in mind, Travis T. Holmes, tell the world where you can be found, my friend.
you can find all of my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, BigCatCountry.com. Please, follow me on all the socials: Travis D. Holmes, Blue Sky, X, Facebook, whatever, Instagram. But again, BigCatCountry.com. We already have the post game recap up. Sometime Monday afternoon, we should have the rewatch article up. Talking about the snap count, anything additional that we may have seen from the TV copy that we missed live. All of the advanced data, just all of it. Take a look. It's chock full of information that probably will be 2 to 3 articles on any other website. But we're gonna give it all to you at once because why are we trying to? I'm not trying to take your money, baby. I just want you to get the information so that you can prove all these box score watchers wrong. That's all it is.
That's right.
But yeah,
show the world that you watch the game and Emmanuel Acho doesn't. I get it.
thank you. Why it don't gotta always be Emmanuel Acho? We know he's terrible. Let's talk about the other ones that's equally bad. But yeah, bro. That's for the most part. Just check it out throughout the weekend. We'll have all the breaking news. Hopefully, we have some for you. Maybe coaching related or GM related. Who knows? But yeah, bro. Where can you be found, man?
Of course, I am Kyle Nash. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my writings for both the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic of the NBA on Fans First Sports Network. Plus, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret. I have my write-up of last night's loss to Arizona State. They got to go perfect in their last 2 games for bowl eligibility. That's fascinating. But my work also with for the Night Shift Live, the instant reaction, of course, you can find on the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel. And then, of course, every week we do the Wednesday edition of the Duval Dive. That'll be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and also followed by the Student of the Game podcast, 9 o'clock. You could find that also on Sertoba Media. And folks, make sure you subscribe and like and get your notifications from the Duval Dive YouTube channel. And if you missed this live, of course, you could always check out the Duval Dive podcast. So an honor, joy, and privilege to do this for you every week, Duval Devout, because listen, when your team's 2-8, you got a lot of hope and pain on your plate. And we're here to make it a meal instead of something that you revile eating and taking in. So for Big Cat Country's Travis T. Holmes, I am Kyle Nash, the Student of the Game. And until next time, everyone, class dismissed.